Today on The Sharp Reality, another college basketball scandal. Plus, if you hate on professional athletes as a man, that's a you problem. TSR Live starts right now. What's up, guys? It's your man Donovan Sharp, and welcome to this edition of TSR Live, presented by Happy Hippo Herbals, home of the highest quality kratom on earth. It is Tuesday, September 26, 2017. Big scandal in college basketball today, and listen, there's nothing new there. Looks like there's a federal case against a number of college basketball coaches who got involved in some sort of recruitment funneling scandal. Again, nothing new there. But this particular case allegedly involves financial advisors and shoe companies who are paying players in high school and college to come to their schools in exchange for retaining their services later on when they go pro. The way it works is pretty simple. Recruit X takes money from an agent. The agent then introduces said recruit to a financial advisor and a shoe company representative, both of which who pay the recruit. They give him cash, gear, money for the family, the whole nine. So Recruit X then plays a year or two of college basketball, usually just a year, for the college basketball coach who set it all up. And when they declare for the NBA draft, they sign with the agent, the financial advisor, and then the shoe company. And I think they said that Adidas might have been involved. I think they said Adidas was involved. I'm not 100% sure. But listen, we all know they're all involved. Nike, Under Armour. They all do the shit on the regular. And listen, so do other college basketball coaches, man. This is par for the course, guys. Anytime you have an amateur sports league masquerading as a college program, a collegiate sports league, you're going to get stuff like this. And for those of you who are wondering, yeah, I am in favor of paying college athletes. Schools make millions of dollars off of these kids every year. And I don't want to hear this, well, they're getting paid with an education. Well, that education, the cost of that education and all of the benefits they get pales in comparison to the money that the school gets. Compelling arguments can be made for both sides, but yeah, I mean, listen, college athletes absolutely need to get paid, especially in the major sports, the major money makers like football and basketball. Every coach does it. Every coach cheats. Every program cheats. They all do it to varying degrees, but no college program is ever squeaky clean. And to me, this isn't even a big deal. They're trying to make this a big story. Because they're trying to make this thing a huge story because they've arrested 10 people and they set up a sting and there are college coaches involved and there's all sorts of people involved. Again, this isn't a big deal at all. I expect next year we'll have another scandal probably bigger than this. So we'll stay tuned to see what happens. But again, this is just I mean, those of you who consume sports on the regular like I do, this isn't a big deal. I figured I'd mention it because you guys are probably going to hear about it somewhere else anyway. So anyway, follow me on Twitter at Donovan_Sharp. Like my Facebook page, TSR Live with Donovan Sharp. Follow me on Instagram. My username is The Sharp Reality, or do a search for Donovan Sharp. And of course, if you want to tweet the show, do it at the hashtag TSR Live with Donovan Sharp. If you guys have questions, comments, show ideas, or personal stories you'd like to share with me or the show, go to my website, thesharpreality.com, and go to the contact tab and submit all your questions and comments and everything there. Today, guys, I'm gonna go in on the men. I'm gonna call out the fellas. You guys know that I usually have the ladies in my crosshairs, but we're going to switch things up here at TSR Towers and address something that has bugged me for years, for quite a while, really since I took the red pill, and that is men who hate on professional athletes. You guys know who you are, so today is specifically for you guys. So if you're the professional athlete makes too much money guy, get ready to be uncomfortable because that's what this is. That's what this is going to be. This is geared towards you guys. Now, professional athletes have always been lightning rods in American culture. From Reggie Jackson's exploits in New York City, Mickey Mantle's reputation as a womanizer, the gambling stories about Michael Jordan, of course, Charles Barkley. American professional athletes have always been under a microscope. And as time has gone by, as time has gone on, the scrutiny of pro athletes has grown exponentially. Now, while the increase in coverage can be mainly attributed to the rapid growth in sports media, social media, of course, the 24-hour news cycle, the underlying theme is that people just don't like professional athletes as much as they used to. And I think that's probably just a byproduct of knowing more about them. Guys from back in the day, like Joe Namath, who famously earned the nickname Broadway Joe because of his gregarious personality, reveling in the New York City nightlife, chasing women. They called him an excellent drunk. He couldn't exist today, at least not without heavy criticism and heavy scrutiny. Back in the day, he was called. I think I looked up a cover, but it said he's an excellent drunk and this and that and the other. Well, today he'd be called an alcoholic womanizer and probably suspended by Roger Goodell for making the league look bad. It does make sense, guys, that the more access we have, the more we know about the lives of professional athletes, which of course ultimately leads to more criticism of the athletes. It's also no surprise that the demonization of masculine conduct, both on and off the field, is due to the rise of feminism. I think we're all aware of that as well. Now, women talking shit about pro athletes is par for the course these days, and to be honest, this shouldn't surprise anybody either. Women have always envied everything about men, and bitching about their male privilege is how they mainly deal with it. This is how they've been dealing with it for the years. But all the hate for male professional athletes by men is what pisses me off, because it's white knighting, guys. It's simping. We can talk all the shit we want about how crappy women are, but we expect that from women. Okay, women are on autopilot to self-destruct and are to be just generally shitty. But when men hate on other men, that shit really gets under my skin, especially when they do it out in public, when they know or they think nothing's going to happen to them. And of course, those are my own personal issues. Now, I understand that men in the sports media specifically, they have to fall in line with the feminist agenda in public, at least, because their livelihoods depend on it. And while some may say, well, they should have picked another profession or another way to make a living before jumping into it, and you'd be wrong, because the carpet of masculinity has quite literally been pulled out from under these guys. Feminism hadn't really infiltrated sports media on this level when most of the notable journalists and media members and sports anchors started. So I'm not going to pass judgment on men who have to toe the line in order to keep their jobs. I'm not going to hate on a man who does that. No, guys, I'm not suggesting that I can read their minds one way or the other. I mean, look, for all we know, the male media members and the sports reporters, they may very well be the white knights they present themselves to be on TV. Okay, nobody knows for sure, but personally, I'd be willing to bet that behind closed doors, most of those male media members probably have very different conversations about the sexes than what we see on television or read in articles. That's just my personal inkling. Men are always going to be men no matter what. On the camera, they're going to be simps, but off the camera, I think it's a different story, especially when you're talking about football analysts and guys like that. When I listen to sports talk radio, which I do on a regular basis, where I follow sports blogs, and I hear and see man after man, regular guys as well as television personalities attacking male athletes, it reminds me of feminism. One thing we try to preach in the manosphere is solidarity. There are different sectors of the manosphere. We have the pickup artists, we have the MGTOWs, we've got the men's right activists, we've got the hardcore red pillars, and on and on and on. But at the end of the day, we all know that we are on the same side. And listen, God knows all of the Western Hemisphere wants us thrown to the gallows and hung in the village square and castrated. So why the hell do we continue to hate on each other? Why are we hating on professional athletes? Well, let's go ahead and get to it. The first reason that most men, the first way most men hate on professional athletes, and I'm not talking about women here. I expect women to be dumb in these particular instances. But I hate professional athlete guy, you're misplacing your anger with player salaries at the wrong people. Back in November of 2014, during baseball's offseason, Miami Marlins outfielder Giancarlo Stanton signed a 13-year contract for $325 million. That contract is, if I'm not mistaken, that's still the biggest contract ever in terms of total cash value, $325 million. Matthew Stafford of the Detroit Lions a few weeks back became the highest paid player in NFL history in terms of annual salary at $27 million. He signed a 6-year, $135 million contract in the offseason, just before the season started. And of course, we all know about Stephen Curry. Well, he makes over $40 million a year. His contract has a total cash value of $205 million, which is the biggest contract in NBA history. And they're going to go up from there, guys. This isn't the end. Anytime a professional athlete signs a mega deal like this, people always lose their shit. And it leads to all of the predictable narrative, like these guys make too much money, or no athlete is worth that much. Now, admittedly, I used to be in this camp. I used to take the so-called high road, and I used to complain about how our military servicemen, police officers, and teachers struggle financially to get by, while professional athletes who get to play a game for a living make more than a day than those guys make in a year. But over the last few years, especially when I first found the red pill, I gained a little more in the way of perspective on this particular issue, and I've done a complete 180 on this, no doubt about it. Professional athletes, they get shit from everyone about their outrageous salaries. We know this. But a fraction of those detractors barely complain, if ever, about what the owners and commissioners make. Well, then people would say, well, owners and commissioners have worked their whole lives to build their wealth, and professional athletes who've played the game since childhood haven't? NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell makes like $44 million a year. And former Major League Baseball Commissioner Bud Selig gets a pension of $6 million per year for Major League Baseball, and he's not even the commissioner right now. That's Rob Manfred. But it's the athlete who is crucified for being greedy. And by the way, Roger Goodell deserves every penny of that salary. That guy takes a lot of arrows, and he is worth. His job is to make the NFL owners money, and that is exactly what he's doing. But here are the facts, guys. Professional athletes have a very small window relative to the average person to maximize on his prime years and earn as much money as he possibly can. When his playing career is done, there are only a few ways for him to make a living, because the sport he's played since he was young is pretty much all he knows how to do. Now, again, I can hear it now. He should have educated himself. He can just make the transition and be a commentator, blah, 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 blah. Well, with regards to education, okay, it's been well established in the manosphere that a college education is next to useless for both men and women. Like, we get that. We understand that. We all have our horror stories to tell. The very purpose of higher learning is to train an individual how to best earn a living. The athlete gets his training on the field while he's in college, or the court, or the ice, or whatever. This is where he gets his education, which is every bit the same as engineers, doctors, lawyers, etc., who are also in training for their chosen career path. Breaking news here, Dwayne Wade just signed a 1-year, $2.3 million contract with the Cavaliers with those who are interested. So it looks like D Wade and LeBron James are back together again in Cleveland. That's actually gonna be a pretty formidable team. You've got D Wade. I mean, listen, Dwayne Wade isn't what he was. He's old, but playing with his buddy LeBron James, you've got LeBron, you've got D Wade, you've got Derrick Rose, you've got Isaiah Thomas, and you've got Kevin Love. That's not the best starting five. I mean, Isaiah Thomas, we don't know if he's healthy. Dwayne Wade is definitely in the twilight of his career. But, dude, if they catch lightning in a bottle, and Derrick Rose scored 18 points a game last season. So if they catch lightning in a bottle, man, they got some guys that really know how to play basketball. So we'll see how that shakes out. But that just came across the wire there. Anyway, getting back to what I was talking about here, better than 99% better than 99% of former professional athletes don't make it on television. And that's even if they get an opportunity in the first place. Guys like Terry Bradshaw and Ray Lewis and Troy Aikman, those guys are a very small fraternity who were lucky enough to transition smoothly from the playing field and into the broadcast booth. Make no mistake about it, guys. Those guys are the exception to the rule. Then when you factor in the price their bodies pay for all of the years of abuse, with the off-season training, the training camps, the mini camps, the spring training, the OTAs, and on and on and on. And then there's the season. And then after that, they get surgery to glue their bodies back together to subject themselves to yet more abuse on the field. It's no wonder athletes are angling for larger salaries, man. They know that when their playing days are over, their bodies are going to be in much worse shape than, the 43-year-old English teacher in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. Which is an underrated city, by the way. You guys should definitely check out Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. Didn't think I'd like it. Lived there for 4 months. Long story, interesting stories to tell. But Bay St. Louis, Mississippi is actually a pretty cool city. Anyway, when you consider the money that any given professional sports franchise makes over the course of the season and their overall net worth, the players' salaries, when you think about it, aren't as exorbitant as one might think relative to their value to that franchise. Everything from the parking, the ticket money collected at the gate, personal seat licenses, apparel, production, down to the hot dogs, the beer, everything else that goes into a sporting event that generates cash is because of the athlete. These billion-dollar television deals that bring all of this revenue to professional sports leagues and sports franchises do not happen without the main attraction, the athlete. Nobody shows up to watch coaches coaching, guys. Nobody shows up to the stadium to watch owners owning. Well, except for maybe Jerry Jones. I'm an Eagles fan, so I've hated the Dallas Cowboys for a while, but I love Jerry Jones. He's my favorite owner of professional sports. Anyway, we as fans, we show up to see the players, which makes them far and away the most valuable asset to every franchise. This more than justifies any player's desire to make as close to his market valuable as possible, and sometimes even more. Sometimes players want to set the market. A-Rod signed that 10-year, $252 million contract back in the early 2000s. He was worth every penny. Steroids and that, he was worth every penny. He set the market. Then he later signed a 10-year, $275 million contract with the New York Yankees. This is what happens. And people ask, okay, Donovan, you make good points, but is any player worth millions of dollars per year? And my answer is, as long as professional sports continue to generate the billions in revenue year after year, of course they are. And I would argue that professional athletes are underpaid. Again, without the athlete, these billions do not exist, period. This is how this works. TSR Live is brought to you by Happy Hippo, Happy Hippo Kratom, Happy Hippo Herbals, rather, home of the highest quality kratom on the planet. Like I've said, guys, I've used Happy Hippo Kratom for a little over 3 years now, and I absolutely love it. They used to come in packets like this for you guys, for you guys to see. They've actually changed their packaging. You get the nice fancy packaging. It's a little more durable, and with every order, you get a Chris and his crew will send you a free sample. So regardless of what you order, he sends you a free sample of a strain that he thinks you might like. Now, Happy Hippo Kratom, guys, the reason I like it is because it makes me more productive, puts me in a good mood. It gives me a good, clean energy boost with no crash. And like I said, man, like a lot of you guys have asked me how it is that I can do a daily show. And write for Return of Kings, and write for Negro Manosphere, and do shows on weekends with O'Shea Duke Jackson, and have guests on my show. I get a lot of emails asking me how it is I'm able to churn out the volume of quality content that I churn out, and a big part of that is Happy Hippo Kratom. So head on over to happyhippoherbals.com and save 25% when you pay with Bitcoin. That's happyhippoherbals.com. Guys, be sure and get the... Oh, my bad. Got the wrong slide there. Be sure and get the likes up, guys. I'm trying to get 100 likes per video. Get the likes up so that we can increase the profile of the show. If you like what you hear, if you think somebody could benefit from the show, get them to subscribe. I'm trying to get this thing to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. For those of you who don't know yet, my ban has been upheld. So I was found to have been in violation of community guidelines. So right now I am under a 90-day ban, and I'm not going to be able to go back to I'm not going to be able to do live shows for my other channel for about 3 months. So definitely subscribe to this channel so I can enable super chat so you guys can contribute when you can and when you want to. If you guys want to check out the archive, thesharpreality.com, TSR Live, all the episodes, go to thesharpreality.com. It's also available on the Google Play app on your mobile device, as well as SoundCloud, iTunes, and of course right here on SoundCloud. So let's go to the chat, see who we've got in the house. Simply Deep 1985. Good to see you guys in here. Mr. Old School Writer says, same time, same place. Let's talk chat. Great title, Don. Love it. Good to see you in here, Kevin Samuels. Mr. Old School Writer says, no hate from me. I just hate the simp-ass culture they keep bringing up all day. I agree, man. Consuming sports has really, it's changed. It's changed drastically over the last couple of years, man. Like, it's become more about what happens off the field than what happens on it, man. Like, it's all about the drama and who's doing this and who's going to kneel for the national anthem. It's just, I'm slowly making the transition from ESPN to FS1. ESPN, listen, I'm an ESPN baby, man. I've watched and consumed ESPN since I was, 12, 13 years old. So, you know, they've imprinted on me. But after finding the red pill and, of course, their sharp turn to the left and all this social shit that they talk about, I'm slowly making the transition. I still watch Mike and Mike in the morning. I still listen to those guys. And I was going to listen to, I was going to replace those guys with, what's that show called on FS1 to rival those guys? It's called First Things First with Nick Wright and Chris Carter, which would have been an excellent show, but it's hosted by a fucking woman who talks too goddamn much. The first time I tuned in, she's in a debate with Nick Wright, and I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, man. I came over here to get away from, it's one thing that I gotta deal with Christine Leahy when I listen to The Herd. And I mean, thank God she doesn't talk a lot, but when she opens her mouth, it's like, dude, my ears bleed. But now I gotta listen to this fucking banshee bitch squawk and talk to Chris Carter and Nick. I mean, dude, I don't even know who the fuck the woman is, man. Like, she has no credibility. She's just some woman who happens to know about sport. I don't give a fuck what her credentials are, man. I'm tired of women infiltrating sports. So looks like I'm gonna have to stay with Mike and Mike, which will soon be Golick and Wingo. So, like Taylor Walston says, hit the fucking like button, guys. Like the video. Got to increase the profile of the show. Got to get the word out. Boss Wavy says, what's up, Donovan? Thanks for the shows. Love the content. I appreciate that, Boss Wavy. Thank you for that. Alex Garcia says, if you hate someone, it means you're defeated by them. Confucius. Yeah, I agree. And listen, well, in that case, I've been defeated by a lot of people, but that's probably more of a byproduct of my temper problem. But yeah, well said, Alex, well said. Alan LT says the TSR channel is at 3,000 subs. Keep up the good work, guys. I reached 3,000 subs yesterday, and I think I'm 12 away. Hold on, I think I'm 12 away from 3,100. Give me 1 second. Let me take a look here. I'm growing by leaps and bounds. Dude, I'm at 3,090 subscribers over on my main channel. So I'm getting close to 100 subscribers a day. So I keep up the good work, guys. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you. Dude Watt 212 says, would the founding fathers embrace the right to kneel for the anthem? Yes or no? Discuss. That's for you guys to discuss. The kneeling for the anthem, I mean, I addressed in the last show. I'm talking about professional athletes. Good question, dude. Dude Watt 212, but I'm not going to discuss that here. So if you guys want to discuss that, that's perfectly fine. But I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to jump into the fray there. Cool Coley, CC, what's going on? I like it. Ezekiel Ivan Almeida says, in my case, I used to, quote, hate the arrogant ones like Cristiano Ronaldo or Ibrahimovic. I hope I pronounced that correctly. But now I get where it comes from. I dislike the ones who behave like spoiled kids on the field. I don't care about those guys either, man. Listen, these guys are in the top 0.5% of people in the world who have the who have not only the talent but the desire and the will to play sports professionally. Listen, it's not easy to be a professional athlete. Yeah, I could probably do without the spoiled brat stuff, but to me, I don't, I don't hold that against them. I really don't. Everybody has different personalities, and a lot of people always say, "I want my professional athletes to behave professionally." Dude, they're professional athletes, not professional people. Listen, man, there are men just like you and me. They want to fuck they want to fuck bitches, they want to spend money, they want to make it rain, they want to pop bottles. I don't give a shit how they act on the field. Make it rain. Heathen Deluxe says FS1 was horrendous at first, but it's catching to ESPN quite steadily. I agree. And I think FS1 closing the gap on ESPN now, there are probably two major factors involved. The first factor is, of course, when ESPN laid off all those people this past spring. FS1 hired a lot of those guys. A lot of former ESPN guys now work for FS1. You've got Mark Schlereth, of course, Colin Cowherd, Jason Whitlock, Chris Carter, who used to be over there. I think Doug Gottlieb used to work for ESPN, but he moved to CBS and then came over to FS1. But the second factor that's involved is ESPN's made a hard left. Like every time, like they have women all over their network. All they talk about is women's rights, social justice, and like when you get updates, it's always something about Kevin Durant tweeted out an emoji. I'm like, wait, what the fuck does that got to do with the? It's almost. ESPN has really sort of become TMZ Sports, man. They become now, don't get me wrong. Things that happen off the field can sometimes be as important as things that go on the field. But ESPN has really gotten swept up into this gossip culture. And I'm a man. Listen, every once in a while, okay, I like to see a benches clearing brawl. I like to see players talking shit about each other on the field. I like the post-game interviews where, guys call each other out. Or in NASCAR, guys get in fights with each other. I can't believe that driver did this, and the next time I see him out on the track, I'm going to put him in the wall. I like seeing stuff like that. But, dude, I don't need to be updated every time player X says something about player Y. And then they're tweeting back. And, it's like we're talking about incessant fucking girls. And I'm hoping that FS1 doesn't go in that direction. FS1 seems to have a solid business plan in that they are trying to be the anti-ESPN. So hopefully, they'll end up that way. Heathen Deluxe says Undisputed is better than. I do like First Take. I like both shows actually. I can't really say which one I like better. I hate the social bullshit that goes on with these shows. Like today, all they talked about was like the social. The whole social that. And then they want to chastise people. Well, they tell us to stick to sports, but sometimes no, man. Like you can talk about it, but it's just become this whole NFL versus Donald Trump thing. This has become the focal point. It's almost like these guys revel in using their sports platforms to talk about politics. It's come on, man. I just listen. Maybe I'm wrong for it, but I'm a man. And when I watch sports, I'm not trying to talk about that kind of stuff. You can call me a meathead. You can call me a Neanderthal. Then I guess I'll just be that fucking meathead or Neanderthal. Stick to sports, man. Like I'm stick to sports guy. And if they want to sit there and try to shame me for it, then fuck y'all. That's fine. I'm not gonna not still be stick to sports guy because you called me out on it. It's getting old, and this is why people are tuning out. This is why people are going away from ESPN, because they're sick and tired of the bullshit. It's okay to talk about it every now and again, but dude, when you've got Title IX investigations and all the feminist bullshit, and you think about this, the NFL is probably it's one of the biggest products on the planet. And ESPN carries Monday Night Football. And not only is ESPN systematically alienating sports fans, men from the ages of 18 to 40, their most profitable demographic, all they do is talk shit about the NFL. Oh, Roger Goodell hid this and CTE that, and it's football's. I'm telling you, man, they're fucking with a dangerous game, man. They're really. It's not good what they're doing, and before long, they're all their viewers are going to be female, which is exactly what they want. So, Heathen Deluxe says the Redskins are going to give the Eagles some trouble. Heathen, come on. Did you watch the first game of the season? Like, we beat the Redskins already on the road. Kukoli said the Eagles pulled one out of their ass yesterday. I assume you're talking about Sunday. Hey, you know what? We did, but guess what? I'll take it. A W's a W. A loss is a loss, and a win is a win. Whether it's by 1 point or 110, I'll take it. We got the W. I will take it. I don't give a shit. I do not care. I do not care. Dudewat212 says if a red pill guy takes a break from watching sports, he will lose out on knowledge that helps networking events and socials, as sports are often common conversation points. Yeah, I guess I would agree with that. Lewis Key in the house says liberals don't watch football. Except for in Seattle, maybe. Liberals watch football in Seattle. Moving right along. Now we're going to get to the one of the elephants in the room. The I hate professional athletes guy. And one of your MO is you pretend to hate steroids and performance-enhancing drugs. Now, today's scarlet letter in professional sports is domestic violence, sexual assault, crimes against women. Any athlete that finds himself at the center of really so much as an allegation or an accusation, regardless of merit, is, I mean, listen, just look at the Zeke Elliott situation. They're subjected to a guilty until proven innocent narrative, which has the potential to derail and even end their career. And again, I've talked about this many times on my show, the latest case, of course, being Ezekiel Elliott. That scarlet letter, however, used to be steroids, and it still is to some extent. Any player suspected of using performance-enhancing drugs or steroids has his name smeared through the mud, okay? His statistics are called into question. They're dragged into, well, they didn't used to be, they were dragged in the court before with the Barry Bonds and the Mark McGwire hearings and all that stuff. And it seems that overnight they're turned into pariahs. Now, once again, I had that same mindset. Growing up, I idolized Barry Bonds. He was my favorite player. But when it became obvious that he, quote, that he cheated, I was among those who criticized him. And once again, the red pill has completely changed my thinking on this in some ways. I'm good with steroids and HGH in contact sports like baseball, football, basketball, and hockey, etc. I am not good with steroids in combat sports. It's good in contact sports, not good in combat sports like boxing and MMA, because you really could hurt somebody. Okay, we can all laugh and say Ivan Drago is make-believe, but remember, Ray Mancini killed Dooku Kim in the ring 3 years before Rocky IV even came out, all right? And now, presumably, Mancini wasn't on steroids, but if a fighter can die in the ring at the hands of a clean fighter, it can certainly happen if a fighter is juicing. So let me go ahead and make that distinction. But if you spend enough time in the manosphere, guys, you probably now understand that steroids, HGH, other performance, testosterone injections, they aren't the boogeyman that the rest of the world would lead you to believe. Okay, listen, masculinity is under enough criticism as it is. So when men find a way to increase masculinity in every way, it should alarm anyone that performance-enhancing drugs are illegal, which, by the way, are all testosterone-based, which is no coincidence. Now, for those of you who think these substances are evil, ask yourself these two questions. Question number one, if let's say you were a 30-something athlete, okay? You're nearing the end of your career. You've got a rookie who plays your position breathing down your neck. Everyone around you is doing steroids, and they're being rewarded for their performance with record-breaking contracts. Can you say for certain that you take the moral high ground you've been on your entire life and wouldn't so much as consider taking the needle? That's question number one. Question number two. If a doctor told you that you could take a supplement that would strengthen your bones, reduce joint pain, decrease recovery time, increase muscle, increase strength, athletic performance, enhance your libido, your performance between the sheets, give you better, tighter skin, you'd say no? Okay? You would literally say no to taking a drink from the fountain of youth. And you'd chastise those who would answer yes to either or both of those questions? Like, you really would do that? Here's the truth, guys. None of us know what we would do in either of those situations unless we were actually in them. I talked about this yesterday, about kneeling for the national anthem. listen, I'd like to think that I wouldn't kneel for the national anthem, but I'm not a professional athlete and I've never been in that position. So I don't know what I would or wouldn't do as a professional athlete in that predicament. So I can't say I can't say what I would or wouldn't do. So why do we hate on athletes who've made the decision to improve their bodies with these substances for the purpose of enhancing their lives, improving and extending their careers and their overall quality of life, especially if we've never been in that predicament? And guys, listen, we all take performance enhancing drugs on some level, even if it's not to the degree of testosterone or HGH. Okay, we take caffeine, we take amphetamines like ephedrine, we take whey protein, we take creatine. Guys, all of those are examples of substances that are taken by millions of men every day to improve their performances and in their everyday lives. Okay, to bash professional athletes for taking it one step further, to me, is not only silly and hypocritical, it lacks perspective and honesty. You're not being honest. So I guess the main question is, getting to the heart of the matter, men who hate on professional athletes they're pathetic and envious simps. Okay, you have a shitty life and you're mad that you're not as successful as these professional athletes, and somebody's got to feel the hate, and that hate, you've decided that athletes are the easy target. Okay, and guys, we can talk all we want about how much money they make, or how they're greedy cheaters, or how they're terrible people. But the fact of the matter is that most of the perceived hate is nothing more than jealousy. It's nothing more than hate. It's nothing more than envy. Professional athletes, guys, live lives of privilege. They make millions of dollars. They're physically superior to 99% of men. They've got pussy literally thrown at them everywhere they go. Who wouldn't want that lifestyle? But they're painted in a bad light by the media. And unfortunately, men have bought into this. This has affected men everywhere, okay? We make angry phone calls to radio shows or tweet out some lengthy epithet about how this or that player is a terrible person because he tested positive for XYZ substance, or signed a deal worth north of $100 million because he didn't negotiate that contract in a way that makes us feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Now, understand this, guys. I am in no way advocating worshiping professional athletes, all right? Kids and early teenagers, mid-teenagers, I give a pass to because of their youthful ignorance. But 30-year-old men who glorify their favorite players by wearing his jersey are mentally immature and psychologically damaged on many levels. I've said it before and I said it again. Now, on the other hand, it doesn't make any sense to hate them, guys, okay? Simply admire them for their athletic ability and understand that they're human beings, complete with all of the frailties that each one of us has as men. There's a happy medium here, and men are more than capable of finding it rather easily. We're men, we can figure this out. Nobody's suggesting that we feel sorry for pro athletes, okay? Listen, all the money, all the pussy, all the adoration they get makes it impossible to feel any sort of sympathy for them. I'll be the first to tell you that. Yeah, these guys have problems just like everybody else, but don't kid yourself. Life is pretty damn good for these guys, at least for the most part. But in my mind, man, like, we as men, we need to stick together, all right? Bitching about pro athletes amongst ourselves makes us look like petulant women who can't help but tear ourselves down if one of them happens to live a better life than we do. Leave that shit to them. Not to mention, this is beta behavior, guys. Being against steroids, or talking about how it's a crying shame that player X makes more than firefighters, guys, that's not getting you any more pussy, man. Women are not impressed by that. So if that's what your game is, well, I can't believe that player X makes more than teachers. Dude, girls ain't admiring that, man. She is not sucking your cock that night. She sees you hating on more successful men, better men than you, and that's unattractive. Believe me. The bottom line here, guys, is that if you hate professional athletes, that's a you problem. You're envious of these men, and bitching about it out loud, that is a beta tell. You are a beta male. Men who are kicking life's ass, men who have other shit going on in their lives, dude, we have neither the time nor the energy to engage in that kind of foolishness. And again, I used to be one of those guys, okay? Until I checked myself and I got my mind right, I took the red pill. Men here with that same complex, you guys would do very well to do the same. Guys, quit hating on men who live better lives than you do. Get your fat ass in the gym, stop spending money on porn, and start saving it. Take control of your life while you still can, and leave the bitching and the whining to feminists. Tomorrow, I will be joined by my fellow contributor at Return of Kings, who is also an expatriate, none other than Kyle Trouble. He's written 2 books. He runs a very successful blog. He's been around the world and really knows his shit. So I'm looking forward to having him on the show. We're gonna talk about the usual shit like girls and game, but we're also gonna talk about what went into his decision to become an expatriate, how he made it happen. Some of the pros and cons of expat life, as well as starting and running an online business, which is important because, of course, if you decide to leave the country, you're gonna need a way to make money. So if you're looking for some insight on the expat lifestyle, how to get the process started and how to sustain it, you guys definitely need to tune in tomorrow. KT really knows his shit about this particular topic, so I'm fortunate to have him on the show tomorrow. He'll also be taking questions on the air, so submit them now through my website to get first priority. Again, go to the contact tab on thesharpreality.com to submit your questions. And make sure it's a 1-part question, guys. No 2 or 3 or 4-part questions. If you have more than one question, submit the main one through my website, then ask the follow-ups in the chat during tomorrow's show. Plenty of ways to contribute to TSR Live. When I reach 1,000 subscribers in this particular channel, you guys can contribute via Super Chat. I do have a Patreon. You can contribute there at patreon.com/Donovan Sharp. You guys can also donate via PayPal. And if you want to support the show, but you're a little bit low on coin, go to my website, thesharpreality.com, and bookmark the Amazon link at the top of my page. Do all your Amazon shopping through that link, and you will be supporting the show at absolutely no cost to you. So let's do one last check in the chat here, see what you guys are chattering about. All right. Heathen Deluxe says Shannon Sharp's farm boy accent is an acquired taste. Yeah, I would agree with that. But Shannon Sharp, he's an insightful guy. He's and he's funny because he likes to pick fun at Skip. But yeah, he's definitely a country boy to be sure. Heathen Deluxe says Wade to sign with the Cavs. The Cavs, the band's back together. Lewis Key says, LOL, I live in Seattle. Yeah, that's my brother used to live in Seattle. He lives in Atlanta now, but he knows how that is. He's a big football fan as well. So listen, liberals do watch football in Seattle. It's a very liberal city. They love their Seahawks. But that's a fair weather fan base. You know, the Seahawks fans have only recently started to become prevalent because of their recent success. So Alex Garcia asks, any word on your original channel live stream coming back? Yeah, I lost my appeal. So when did they pull up a calendar here? I'll let you guys know exactly. I think it was the 18th that they shut down my channel. It's let's see, September, October, November. It's going to be right around Christmas time, Alex. Right around Christmas time is when I'll be out of YouTube jail, and at that point I'll be able to do live streams from my original channel. So yeah, lost my appeal. It is what it is. I've got this channel, so by the time I get that back, things will be back on track there. DOAP says, hello, Donovan. What are your measures against STDs? Yeah, wrap your dick, number 1, and use condoms, number 1, and use defense soap. Just type in defense soap. I've never had an STD in my life, and and again, dude, I have fucked plenty of girls, and I have never ever caught an STD. And part of that reason is because I always wrap my dick, and I always use defense soap right after I get done fucking. Like after I get done fucking, dude, I will get up from the bed, I will go to the shower, whether it's my place or her place, and I will scrub my shit down with defense soap. So I would definitely look up defense soap. That's definitely integral in my defense package against STDs. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of TSR Live. Be sure to like the video, Follow me on Twitter at Donovan_Sharp. Like my Facebook page, TSR Live with Donovan Sharp. And of course, you can donate with PayPal. Again, don't forget to tune in tomorrow where I will be joined by special guest Kyle Trouble. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.